This is an exciting chapter for me because now we're going to start to take this palette, the expanded palette, and start to paint from life. This is something I do all the time when I'm up in the high country, you know, on good days. There's nothing more exciting for me than to try to capture how I feel about nature. So this will be starting in the studio, introducing it, then we'll be going outside and I'll be doing a study working direct from life. You can see from a lime green where it gets a little more neutral each time, a little more neutral. I come down to that near gray that I was talking about in an earlier chapter, to the true gray, where I divide this from the yellow green to the red violet. All the color mixes on this side are warmer. All the mixes to this side are cooler mixes. So as I move this way, I've got a near gray that's to the cool side, and then I gradually start moving up to the cool greens that are pure hue. So now let's look at a couple color charts, taking some of the other colors around, so you'll see that literally you have an infinite amount of choices by mixing just two colors. There's a couple things I'm going to hit here before we get started. One, I talked about this inside some, but when I look up this cliff up here in front of me that I will be painting, I see a mix of a Naples yellow, a little cad red orange, and see, that's kind of getting it right there. But many times I'll use a little of the manganese violet because it will granulate, and I'll work with that on those cliffs. Second, I'm looking at some of these clouds up here and I see the neutral color. The neutral color is the gray, and what I'm going to do in a painting, if I put too much going on, like if I try to get all these puffy clouds and the cliffs and the water and the fishermen and, you know, the rock forms and all that, it gets too busy. So I've got to make selections. So to me, the sky is going to be secondary, but it's still going to be setting off the rest of the painting. Now I'm looking back here and I'm seeing some movement in the willows. And so I want to capture a little of that using a round brush. I'm just lifting back to the light. I'm going to come back here. This is starting to dry, so I can lay in a little of this lime green. And that lime green is so strong and so bright that I don't think I'm going to use any Naples yellow in it. And I'll just glaze it in. I might come in too while I'm at it, depending on how dry the paper is. You know, this lifting process is something very important to me. Okay, I'm going to come back and start to get some shadow and light. And I think what I'll do is come in with the Viridian and a little ultramarine violet to get a good deep dark. Of course, the value is what's going to set off the color. So let's really start to push that now. So we'll take this and then work around that lime note of color and bring some of this up into this upper area. And maybe do a whole mass of this, this area. And what I think I'll do is just start with a red-violet mass. Maybe with the manganese. And I'll just pop some of that in, lay some of that down, let the texture of the paper work for me. Now, while it's still wet, I can come in with a little bit of a smaller brush and start to build. And the first tree that I see actually got a little kind of orange brown. I'll pop that in, and you see how that value shifts the color. But what I like to do, I'm happy with where the painting is at this point. We're going to take it back to the studio. The last 15% of the painting I always like to do away from the site. At a certain point I get too influenced by what's out there and not enough with what's going on here, so I can make better decisions in the studio. So I'll take it back in the studio and we'll wrap it up. Okay, I brought the painting back inside and I've worked it a little further. I have worked with this area and I've come in with a little strength into the cliff area. I brought this rock form a little darker and into the foreground to kind of break up this space. I've drug a little bit of a darker shape right down here to pull you into the light, and I've worked in this tree area, this dead snag, lifting a few forms and painting a dark around it.